don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.
Now, we are leveling a rogue, but falconer, because the falcon has some serious early damage once we get to a certain point. Now, the umbral blades we get into, that starts doing real good damage early. Now, I'm playing with these. You don't get to play with the Weaver's Will so much when you're trying to just pick the perfect thing. Weaver's Will gives us a chance to actually get some stats that you wouldn't normally find on gear, so I'm playing with these because it does do some melee damage and everything. So dagger, that's a must for the leveling build. Now we'll go into some skills. Now, as you can see, it's 19. I've been messing around. This is +2 because of the sword. It's +2 melee skills. So if you want to use that as a melee build, that's a good thing as well. Now, umbral blades, we look down here, 9955. I could have that higher if I had the optimal, usually a mace. But if you have a look at here, these lethal darkness. You require a dagger to use it, hence the moon dagger. Now, you inflict shadow dagger with daggers. Have a look at that damage compared to what we do. 4 stacks of shadow daggers on the thing, it does a massive boost to our damage. And it doesn't take that much. We can spam the blades on the target. Now, the other big thing that we can do is actually the dive bomb. The dive bomb is pretty much a single target thing. You can do it on some tanky stuff or just because you feel like it. Now, this is where the dive bomb gets its power from. Also armor shred, but that's obviously getting into more min-max sort of your skill. If we have a look at this, 11,000 damage on that particular one, and we could put a couple more points in. It does that damage, plus we're doing this and getting another 27,000. It also goes up with the scaling stats you can see, and we can always get dex on a rogue. So that goes up the more you put into your build. Passives at level 70. I'll start with the rogue part. Now, we got attack speed because attack speed's important in a character that needs to move a lot. Fizz damage. We got this just so we can come through here over to haste on hit. Again, moving, very important. Double equip. This is pretty much your last point into rogue. Obviously, you can put more in if you feel like it, but this is the 20th point, which allows us access to the other stuff. Health gain and mana, but yeah, using multiple weapons to do the damage. We haven't got anything in marksman, although if you want to go into endgame, there is a bow that does plus falcon skills, and you can go into this and get some bow damage, some health, and some more bow damage here, and spend pretty much the last 30 points. You could go here. Now on the falcon side, we have this, obviously gaining haste and all that, doing damage, throw damage, but there is this 1 point of dex, some armor and dodge, which goes into the damage and health per 3 dex, which can be very handy. So there is ways that you can actually get some sort of health recovery, dodge. It's pretty much a moving thing. Ward. Endgame, you must go ward as a second defense as well. The Blade Dancer, we have some stuff in. Again, damage increase. This is to get over to here to do Dark Shroud when hit, the 2% and 80 health. Now you can continue along if you wish, and you got specific, you can go bleed and all that, but I would recommend, unless you're going a bow bleed through here, getting some bow damage and then trying to do a bleed on a bow, not to really go bow, bleed or poison until end game, or do it early and then just focus mainly on upping the skills. Anything that the scaling stuff says, you can build up into that. Now, how it plays, there is a few, pretty much degen is our biggest issue, plus any big hits. This is a level 85 area, we are level 71. It took us 2.5 hours to get into the end game at like, I think roughly 32, 33, something around there. So we were severely underleveled pretty much the entire end game. Now as you can see, just moving around talking, it's dropping some, I'll just pick everything up. I'm not going to think about whether the stuff's good or not. So the dive bomb, if we see, it does that, big bomb. It's a quick reload too, and we can just hold this, bam. Now, the movement skill, you can later turn this into your movement skill and you dive onto your target and drop a smoke bomb on. And it does increase the cooldown by 50%, turning it into a movement skill. I'll throw it out just so you can see. It's a little slow, but 50% movement speed increase as well as any cooldown. You'll be able to do it fairly often. As it is, this is fairly fast. And it does damage on top of it. So we'll dive bomb this guy. And you can see, it's not like a one-shot wonder because we're up against level 85s. As you build up, you get armor thread onto it and all that. You will be able to dive bomb and take things out better, but Umbral Blades is our primary. But if you're moving around and you just got like one out, one out, one out, having the bird being able to do this or this makes it much better at killing things than a lot of builds, because you constantly got things attacking. Come on, give me an ambush so we can finish this. So, okay, we got ambushed, and you'll see as we do these Umbral Blades, just all of a sudden a massive damage spike. If you saw that, every now and then there was a chunk of health going down. That's when the shadow daggers are going off, and the higher level we get, the more specialized gear we have, the bigger that chunk's going to be. Obviously if you go bow, you won't have that damage chunking for it. So yeah, do keep in mind this will put you very underleveled. It's not a terrible thing, but just keep in mind you'll be so underleveled it may become difficult because you are doing so much damage. So hopefully you enjoy the leveling process. So first off, leveling a rogue, we're going to use Flurry. Flurry is a very good early skill. You can turn it into an endgame skill, but we're going to use it early until we get Puncture, and then we're also going to use Acid Flask once we unlock it. You can spec into Acid Flask and put all of it into damage. It is advisable if you want, because it does do early damage. Poison, bleed, ignite, all that is very strong early on. So don't be fussed if you respec and you take it out later. Once we unlock Puncture, you can swap over to Puncture and start speccing into Puncture and going into Bleed. and then you build up the bleed. You can go into Fizz Thread if you keep it longer or you're leveling slowly. Shift, we want to put in our second slot, first or second, but let's say second, and do mana with the shift because it can be mana heavy, and we want to increase the efficiency of it with the skill. Once we do that, we pretty much just run puncture, decoy just to get things away from us, and the shift. And we just do that until we unlock our mastery, pick falconry. You can just forget about the falcon for now, or just have it on there as extra, a little bit of damage. But we're pretty much just going through and doing the same, trying to get our gear to either res for defense, ward per second, or damage. Now the next thing we will do is eventually, not straight away, unless you've got the actual ability to, but eventually we'll go into Umbral Blades, and they'll be our primary attack, and we're going to spec into it and head for the Lethal Darkness first up. But you need a dagger for this to work, so don't spec into it until you have a dagger. If you don't have a dagger or don't want to use a dagger, you can go along the lines of towards Loathing and Steel Torrent, or up towards Burst of Agony, and then get a dagger once you either want to or you feel your dagger is good enough. We're going to obviously spec into Falcon, but we're going to use Smoke Bomb as well because that increases our ability to do other things with it. We want to get duration first up and then add some damage whilst we're inside the smoke. So that's the first priority for that. You head towards the damage and duration. And the Falcon damage per level is very strong, but obviously it increases as your level increases. We can do damage to marked enemies and the buff durations and all that, but pretty much the Falcon is a little weak early on, but we want to head up towards Hunter's Spoils as well. So we're looking to just use the Umbral Blades pretty much for damage, the decoy to keep everything away from us, and shift for movement, and smoke for extra damage on a single target or a pack that's around us and we can't necessarily get out of there. So by now you should be roughly level 30 odd, and either heading towards the end of Act 4, Act 5, depending on your leveling speed, possibly going into monoliths. I went into monoliths as early as I could, around 32. Our damage is pretty terrible considering we're up against level 58. So we need to get a good enough gear going into it, but we still need to hope the vendors have some stuff, Gamble have some stuff, because we can't use anything that drops of decent level because it's a level 58 zone. So it's dropping like level 50s all the time. But eventually we want to get to level 50, get all our skills unlocked, and we want to further spec into Umbral Blades. You'll see how I've done that. We also want to use Aerial Assault as our movement skill. It also does damage, so it's a bit of a bonus. Smoke Bomb, we're still using that for extra single target. The Falcon, we're using that for a little bit extra damage on it. Putting some ailments on people, like some slow stack and things like that. Falcon Screech. The Dive Bomb, we want to head for the Featherfall, because the Featherfall actually increases the amount of damage that Dive Bomb does. So we want to head to that first and then go throughout the tree and get stuff like fizz shred and things like that, and you'll see how I've done that. But pretty much we want ward per second, ward on kill, like anything that's got that sort of stuff on it. We want to try to get ward as our secondary defense, because we aren't armor stacking or anything, so we're dodge based, and we're just moving around a lot, so we actually don't get hit. And then the gear, you pretty much want to have the implicits on the gears either doing res or doing some sort of like throw damage, melee damage, fizz damage, something like that, which is boosting your attack or defense. You can use the Weaver Will stuff if you find a good pair and it rolls very well for other items, but you must have a dagger if you want to use the shadow daggers. And you want to try to do the crit multi, because the feather strike thing the Falcon does crits 100%. So we want to increase our crit multi to actually and melee crit multi, because he's melee based, the Falcon, because we want that hit to be as big as possible so we can actually use it to do a good chunk of damage later. But pretty much after you've done leveling, you look to do an endgame sort of style. So we're building up dex, we're building up damage. If you're going to go into bow, you're going to have to start looking at bow damage, fizz damage from bows. They're unique that you can use, which does +4 levels in all the Falcon skills. Look to farm that. It's pretty easy to farm, I'm pretty sure. Even if you're not all that strong, you can do it with this build. You don't have to swap over yet. You can farm all the gear for an end game up until like min-max and end game. With this build, it is pretty good. And do try it out. Do let me know what you think.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.
Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet next to me.
I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
I can't contain it, I'm coming out with a statement. You really changed, man, all your music and arrangement. You don't know shit, shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks, didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience. I'll do it all again, cause I never feel complacent. Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking back, cause I made a life that's passionate. A college graduate suppressing all his talents, yeah. He found a way to go and change, become an advocate. For taking control of your life, go out and battle. And you think you have a dream, then act on it. Get after it, get out your head and fucking capture it. You got one life to master it. Don't give up on your future, we all start losers. We're all late bloomers, gotta struggle through the
Fuck
sewer.
what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane, pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession, all in his possession. You got their attention, I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me.
Catch you next time, and hopefully last Epoch is treating you well. Goodbye.
Instead of searching inside for what they gave him.